hereby suspend the Honorable Justice Walter Nkanu Samuel Onogen as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, pending final determination of the case against him as the Code of Conduct Tribunal.
Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed takes charge as Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria as federal government suspends embattled Walter Onogen. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo takes campaign train to Ogbomoso, urges Nigerians to save nation's destiny from unprogressive politicians. Plus, conflicting court orders on APC primary election in Zamfara state, even as federal government agrees with United Kingdom and United States threats to punish election riggers and perpetrators of justice. A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on NTA Network News. I'm Elizabeth Stober. The embattled Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, has been suspended from office by President Muhammadu Buhari. This follows an order of the Code of Conduct Tribunal served on him as a result of several cases relating to his alleged breach of the Code of Conduct for public officers. Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed has already been empowered to take charge in acting capacity. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
But I will not allow my personal interest.
Holder of a doctorate degree in law from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed from Bauchi State is the most senior justice of the Supreme Court, and therefore his appointment as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria pending final determination of the cases against Justice Walter Onogen. At a brief swearing-in ceremony, President Muhammadu Buhari said his decision to wholeheartedly obey the order of the Code of Conduct Tribunal is in line with his administration's avowed respect for the rule of law. He said apart from the grievous allegations in the petition against Justice Onogen, security agencies have also traced other suspicious transactions running into millions of dollars to his personal accounts, either undeclared or improperly declared, to which he admitted, citing mistake and forgetfulness as reasons.
One expected that with his moral authority so wounded by these serious charges of corruption, more so by his own written admission, Justice Walter Onogen would have acted swiftly to spare our judicial arm further disrepute by removing himself from superintending over it while his trial lasted. Unfortunately, he has not done so. The Chief Justice of Nigeria and his legal team have made nonsense of the efforts of the Code of Conduct Tribunal to hear the allegation on merit and conclude the trial as quickly as possible.
Since the trial commenced, President Buhari said every other day the nation witnessed various courts granting orders and counter-orders in favor of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, characterized by what he called unholy alacrity.
In the midst of all these distracting events, the essential question of whether the accused Chief Justice actually has a case to answer has been lost in the squabble over the form and nature of his trial. This should not be so. Nigeria is a constitutional democracy, and no one must be or be seen to be above the law. Unfortunately, the drama around the trial of the Chief Justice of Nigeria has challenged that pillar of justice in the perception of the ordinary man on the street. If justice cannot be done, and clearly seen to be done, society itself is at risk of the most unimaginable chaos. As a government, we cannot stand by wailing and wringing our hands helplessly, but give full backing and support to those brave elements within the judiciary who act forthrightly, irrespective of who is involved.
The president said with the fight against corruption as one of the tripod of policies promised Nigerians by his administration, this cannot be achieved without the cooperation of the legislature and judiciary.
It is no secret that this government is dissatisfied with the alarming rate in which the Supreme Court of Nigeria, under the oversight of Justice Walter, has serially set free persons accused of the most dire acts of corruption, often on mere technicalities. Several of these individuals walk free among us today, enjoying what are clearly the proceeds of the corruption which for so long has defeated the efforts of this nation to develop and prosper.
President Buhari made a case for Nigerians to take the part of honor by standing together in the fight against corruption so that the nation can be properly positioned for accelerated development. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The State High Court 3 in Gusau has validated the results of the contentious APC primaries in the state and directed INEC to receive and publish same for the purpose of the forthcoming general elections. The court judge, Justice Bello Mohammed Shinkafi, who gave the ruling this Friday, held that the plaintiffs have been able to prove their case. Correspondent Jamil Ibrahim Gusau has more.
Some APC aspirants for the 2019 general elections in Zamfara state had in October last year filed a suit before the State High Court Gusau, challenging the refusal of the party National Secretariat and the INEC to recognize and accept the result of a purported primary elections of the party in the state. The plaintiffs, among other things, spread the court to direct the APC National Secretariat and the INEC to accept the list of the candidates that emerged from the contentious primaries and to ensure the publication of the same for the purpose of the forthcoming general elections. Some other interested parties, including two gubernatorial aspirants of the party in the state, Senator Kebiru Marafa and Aminu Sanijaji, later joined the suit as co-defendants.
The final analysis about this judgment is that there is no victory for one side. It is a victory for everybody.
I would have to confer with my client, inform him of the details of the judgment, and then after a review of the judgment, we'll know what action we'll take.
We have grabbed the copy of the said judgment. We study them. If there is room for appeal, we'll go on and appeal.
It's the same family and the same party. So I will call on all of party members now. It's must. Now we must join hands for the success of this APC.
In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And the Abuja division of the Federal High Court has barred the All Progressives Congress from fielding candidates in the upcoming general elections in Zamfara state. Aliyu Tukur reports that the court judgment affirmed the decision of the Independent National Electoral Commission foreclosing the party from participating in the state election.
On the 9th of October last year, INEC in a letter barred the All Progressives Congress from participating in the upcoming elections in Zamfara state on grounds that the party did not conduct its primary election within the stipulated time. This decision did not augur well with the party and therefore approached the court seeking for redress, asking the court to overturn the decision of INEC and declare it null and void, having regards to the provision of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended.
In this particular case, it is very, very clear what the purpose of Section 87 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended is, and the court so holds.
The judgment was sound. A political party seeking to be allowed to file in candidates of its own choice was denied by the court. That there are procedure of doing everything and there is time for doing everything as far as political programs are concerned.
The presiding judge, Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu, says the judgment is in tandem with the law and will help instill discipline among political parties. In Abuja, Aliyu Tukur, NTA News.
In the meantime, Governor Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar of Zamfara State has formally reacted to the judicial decision validating the contentious primary elections by the governing APC in the state, describing it as a victory for democracy and the rule of law. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that the governor said this while addressing newsmen after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari. Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, who also met the president, said the people of Jigawa State eagerly await the APC presidential campaign train to reaffirm their loyalty and support.
To ensure that justice has been delivered.
Now, talking about the campaigns for the 2019 elections, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has urged Nigerians to ensure that the destiny of the country is not placed in the hands of those who will retard its progress. The Vice President stated this while on a campaign tour to Ogbomoso land. Correspondent Dayo Ogunshola has details.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who arrived at Iresapa and Surulere local government area of Ogbomosoland, assured market men and women that they will soon join the League of Beneficiaries of one of the social investments initiated by Muhammadu Buhari government, as enumeration of trader money beneficiaries will soon commence. While engaging Nigerians, Professor Osinbajo highlighted the giant strides of APC government, especially in infrastructure and job creation, promising that more initiatives are on the way. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo paid homage at the palace of Aresakwa in Surulere local government and that of Shawonfu, Ogbomosoland, where issues critical to the well-being of the people were presented for government attention.
On the 1st of January, when Buhari was broadcasting to the nation, the first road he mentioned was Oyo Ogbomoso Road. Go and check it, go and cross-check. So it's in the plan that this is the thing they started 16 years ago, we are going to finish it.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo continues his engagement in other local government areas of Ogbomosoland. In Ogbomoso, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
And the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has urged his supporters in Kaduna State to get ready with their PVCs to cast their votes for him in next month's presidential election. He stated this at the party's presidential campaign rally in Kaduna. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
Supporters of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) converged on the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, carrying banners indicating support for various candidates of the party. The former Vice President Namadi Sambo, Senate President Bukola Saraki, who is also the Director General of the Atiku presidential campaign, as well as other influential members of the party, including PDP National Chairman Uche Secondus, graced the occasion. The PDP presidential candidate came into the stadium calling on his supporters to vote for all the candidates of the party from top to bottom. There were several entertainers who took to the podium to make the occasion lively. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
The federal government has welcomed statements from the United States and the United Kingdom demanding credible and peaceful elections in Nigeria and threatening punitive measures against election riggers and perpetrators of electoral violence. In a statement issued in Ilorin this Friday, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the federal government is particularly delighted that the statements came after it alerted the nation to the machinations of some opposition elements who are working to scuttle the 2019 polls through widespread violence. The minister expressed confidence that the APC-led administration would emerge victorious in the forthcoming elections and called on the international community to keep a close eye on those who are spending more time on a dubious strategy of scuttling the polls rather than campaigning to win in a free, fair, transparent and peaceful election. And President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the newly elected President Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, on his victory and inauguration. The president commended the government and people of DRC for their determination and commitment to democratic principles, which resulted in the first peaceful transfer of democratic power since independence in 1960. The Nigerian leader and ECOWAS chairman also salutes the Congolese people for their peaceful for peacefully exercising their franchise during the national elections in the country. And President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of an acting managing director for the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. He is Professor Nelson Braifa. A statement by the presidential advisor on media, Femi Adesina, says the president, following Federal Executive Council resolution, has equally vested the supervisory role of the commission on the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, as well as approved the dissolution of the extant board. Also appointed as Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration of NDDC is Mr. Chris Amadi, while Engineer Samuel Ajogbe is the Acting Executive Director, Projects. The appointments take immediate effect. You're watching NTA Network News. We'll now take a break to bring you some messages. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
You know, from day one, Globe makes life easier. They brought us per second billing, unbelievable data packages, and even an optic fiber cable to make sure we optimize. There are two things in our lives we depend on: the communication and information, voice and data. Whether you sell, buy, learn, teach, serve, or lead, it really comes down to those two things: voice or data. Today's world is all about you. You want what you want, how you want it, and Glow delivers. The freedom to use voice and data the way you like on every recharge. Easy.
Glow Yakata. Recharge 100 Naira and get 2,200 Naira. Minimum 500 Naira to call all networks and 10 friends and family. Plus all the data you need. Up to 6 gigabytes. Buy a Glow SIM or dial *220# to migrate. Glow, Grandmasters of Data.
Allegation say, Marina, you we want. Marina, you we sabi. These other people now mouths them there. All these other people now jaga them sabi.
Oh yes, so people of Lagos State, now President Muhammadu Buhari, them go vote for this election when they come so, because them don't see all the good work what they do to make our country better. Election time now the time for sweet mouth. Some of them fit to use sweet mouth, collect banana from monkey hand. But President Buhari now proper talk na do person. That is why we all go vote him. So if it to complete all the good work what they do for Lagos State and everywhere for Nigeria. People of Lagos, make we all come out on election day and vote Muhammadu Buhari as president of Nigeria. Professor Yemi Osinbajo, vice president. This one na time for the next level of now a Plus support group power this message.
This is to invite the general public to the formal presentation of the book Testing the Grade of Public Service, an autobiography of Malam Adamu Liman Chiroma, under the chairmanship of Malam Mahmoud Yayel Ahmed, Ajian Katagun. Book presenter, Alhaji Dr. Aminu Dantata. Book reviewer, Professor Abubakar Rashid, Executive Secretary, AUC. Chief host, Malam Nasir Ahmed El Rufai, Executive Governor, Kaduna State. Date, Saturday, 26 January 2019, by 9 a.m. at Arewa House, Kaduna. Announcer, Book Launch Committee.
What is the real value of the money you receive on election day in order to cast your vote for a candidate? Note that the money you receive is all you will be paid in the next 4 years the candidate will be in office. He has paid you in advance for 4 years' service. How much do you value yourself? Is that small change offered what you are worth? They have bought your silence so that they and their children can live well. Is 13 kobo per day or even 68 kobo per day worth it? Think twice. Don't sell your future. Don't sell your vote. 4 years is a long time. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
I go time my daily, yeah. I go not say I don't go. If you see my daily, it go wound everybody. Daily. Let me do tielo. Let me do tielo. Let me go.
3G is great. 4G is better. You don't know what you're missing till you experience it. Upgrade to a 4G device and SIM SMS Get to 141 to enjoy double data on Nigeria's widest 4G network.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
I'm an only child, and I grew up as such from an extremely poor background. Early morning, I will fetch water for the family, then go to school, come back from school, then take the cattle for rearing. The cattle was not our own, but it was a wealthier neighbor's own, who will now, in exchange, give us some grains to feed for the family.
I believe in one Nigeria where all our people have equal opportunities. We must be the hope of the common man for the common good of the Commonwealth of Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by our Moments Group.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, some Igbo leaders who are also members of the Imeobi Ohanaeze Ndigbo have condemned a meeting of the Apex Igbo Social Cultural Organization in Enugu, which alleges that Ohanaeze Ndigbo has endorsed and adopted a presidential candidate of a certain political party. Briefing journalists on the issue, the Igbo leaders said the resolve by Ohanaeze president to convene a meeting on a day the president of the country was in Igbo land to honor the greatest Igbo man, Nnamdi Azikiwe, is mischievous, disrespectful, and with sinister motive. Jude Abugu completes the report.
After receiving President Muhammadu Buhari in Enugu and Anambra states, these Igbo leaders and many others who are statutory members of the Imeobi Ohanaeze, including a delegation from Anambra state government, said they rushed to the venue of the meeting, only to be told that the meeting was held earlier than scheduled. They said any decision taken at the meeting is illegal, as it did not receive the approval of the General Assembly.
Nyamood administration expired as of 31st of December 2018.
I had no business calling the meeting. He was on his own. So attributing what happened today to Ohanaeze is unfair.
They warned against politicization of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, noting that the body should remain apolitical, playing the role of a father who fights for the interests of his many children.
It was an exclusive meeting to exclude people from expressing their views. So it's not in the interest of the Igbos.
If you try to exclude any of your people through either fair or unfair means, then definitely you are no longer playing the role that an organization as Ohanaeze ought to play.
The Southeast Governors Forum, through its chairman and Ebonyi State Governor, had earlier pleaded with the president of Ohanaeze Ndigbo to shift the meeting to 7 in the evening to enable prominent Igbo sons and daughters receive the president on his visit to the zone. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress wants the people of the Southeast not to be lured by the antics of the opposition People's Democratic Party, whose actions the party alleges is to satisfy the party's immediate political gains. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lanre Issa Onilu, in a press conference in Abuja said the recent endorsement of the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar by some members of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo did not represent the interest of the majority. He said President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has pursued a deliberate policy of inclusive governance with equal allocation of the nation's resources and developmental projects spread across the country. This momentum, he said, President Muhammadu Buhari promised to uphold when given another opportunity for a second term.
Of roads and bridges are ongoing in the southeast. This is unprecedented in the history of our nation. Although the contracts for many of the roads were awarded by past administration under the PDP, they were either poorly funded or not funded at all. We have held constructive, purposeful, countrywide and multi-sectoral conversations on core issues of true federalism and devolution of powers in line with the party's change agenda.
Supporters of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, have restated their commitment to ensure the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar for the progress of the country. This was during the flag-off of the governorship campaign led by Governor Badaru Abubakar in Hadija Emirate. Awal Muhammad Kazauri has details.
The 2019 APC governorship election campaign takes off in Jigawa State with Hadija and Guri local government areas as first point of call. Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar promised to continue with various developmental projects embarked upon by his administration. He noted that his administration has initiated and completed many projects in agriculture, health, education, economic empowerment, and road construction.
We have fulfilled our campaign promise.
And APC chieftain Alhaji Faruk Adamu Aliyu and the first Jigawa State civilian governor Ali Saad Burnunkudu urged people of the state to continue to support the APC-led administration at all levels as it is the solution to Nigeria's problems. Highlights of the campaign rally was the presentation of parties' flags to candidates contesting for various elective positions. The campaign continues in other parts of the state. From Duse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
And the Nigeria Police Force has reiterated commitment to be unbiased and provide adequate security to ensure a level playing ground for all political parties before, during and after the 2019 general elections. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Abubakar Adamu, affirmed this while receiving the British High Commissioner and Permanent Representative to ECOWAS at the force headquarters in Abuja.
That are ready now. We have trained all the personnel. All the logistics are on ground. We will deploy earlier before the day of the election, and we will monitor even after the election. We'll be on ground.
Important role of the security forces, in particular the police, in the forthcoming elections. I was very pleased to hear him say that he recognises how important it is that his role is one of impartiality, to create a level playing field. And secondly, he stressed the importance of a professional approach from the police.
The Inspector General of Police also played host to the team from Policy and Legal Advocacy Center.
The importance of the police and security services playing a very non-partisan role will help Nigeria in terms of the outcome of the elections.
The Nigeria Police Force calls on political party members and the electorate to play the game according to the rule. The capacity of officials of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, from across the country is being built in Abuja towards efficient logistics delivery for the 2019 general elections. This was at a workshop on implementation of INEC and NURTW Memorandum of Understanding, empowering the transport union as the sole provider of vehicles nationwide for the forthcoming elections. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The two-day discussion between INEC and the union aims at reviewing the existing Memorandum of Understanding of January 2015, with a view to improving on the successes expected in the forthcoming general elections. Participants are expected to interpret the provisions of the MOU to facilitate adequate dissemination of information to members at the grassroots.
We signed an MOU here, and the states are still going to meet their REC and sign another memorandum of understanding in the state. So it's necessary for us to bring the leadership together here so that we can identify the areas. So by the time they go to their states, there's not going to be any problem.
The effectiveness of implementation comes and goes with this workshop, and that the respective coordinators of the state understand clearly what is their role and how they will contribute to the success of these elections.
INEC's central message to the union officials is the need for them to study the do's and don'ts of election itinerary on voting days.
2019 should not be an exception. We should rather improve.
The NURTW leadership during the workshop presented checks as retirement benefits to 22 of the union staff. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Determined to close the road infrastructure gap in the transportation sector, the federal government has issued an Executive Order 007 of 2019. President Muhammadu Buhari, who signed the order, described it as a significant milestone in changing the narrative that has dogged past efforts at developing the critical arteries of national development. State House correspondent Adam Musombo reports.
The Executive Order 007 on the Roads Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme is a product of thinking outside the box for new techniques in developing critical roads infrastructure. 19 eligible roads projects are to be executed under the first phase of the scheme by 6 leading manufacturing and construction firms located in 11 states spread across the 6 geopolitical zones. President Muhammadu Buhari said the order is informed by not only the revenue shortfalls hampering efforts at fully funding critical projects, but also the delays being experienced in the passage of annual budgetary allocations.
Through this scheme, companies that are willing and able to spend their own funds on constructing roads to their factories or farms will recover their construction costs by paying reduced taxes over a period of time. We shall ensure complete transparency in these setups. I call on other local and international investors, as well as state governments, to embrace this roads infrastructure development scheme. I personally invite you to submit viable proposals for more road projects, such that in time, the scope of this initiative will cover all 36 states of the Federation.
The President, who charged the Minister of Finance to ensure swift and smooth takeoff of the landmark initiative, commended the participating states and investors for their commitment to working with his administration towards developing and delivering critical roads infrastructure in key economic hubs and industrial centers.
I also thank Nigerians for the confidence reposed in this administration's strategy under the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan to ensure sustainable, inclusive, and diversified growth, as well as to guarantee the socio-economic development of the nation. We trust that the Nigerian people will revalidate our mandate to continue to deliver on economic prosperity, national security, and good governance, devoid of the bane of corruption.
Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed said the executive order provides mechanisms for group of investors to pull funds together to invest in roads either directly, jointly, or in collaboration with institutional investors.
Essentially, this scheme will utilize tax expenditure refundable by the way of tax credits to finance the construction of critical road infrastructure through a public-private partnership mechanism.
Our promise is to deliver all eligible roads
projects assigned to us ahead of time, we will not fail the government. This is one additional innovation of this government that I'm sure will enable us get more votes in the next election.
A total of 794.4 kilometers are to be covered in the pilot phase of the scheme. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News. Time now to join Hingino in Lagos for more reports. It's over to you, Hingino.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and a warm welcome to Lagos. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has assured Nigerians of the determination of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration to consolidate on his past achievements if voted into power. The Vice President gave the assurance during the continuation of his door-to-door campaign in Lagos, where he visited former Governor of Lagos State, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde.
The Vice President, who was in Lagos for the continuation of his door-to-door campaign to Ifako, Agege, Mushin and Surulere local government areas, visited the former Lagos State Governor in his Ilupeju residence in the state. The Vice President thereafter held a closed-door meeting with close members of Jakonde's family, with APC governorship candidate Babajide Sanwo-Olu in attendance. Addressing clergymen as well as Christian faithful at the Adeni Ikoka Memorial Chapel in Ifako, Agege, Professor Osinbajo said that corruption remained the major challenge of Nigeria, and the President Muhammadu Buhari administration will not relent in its fight against the blight.
I believe very strongly that by the Almighty God giving me a chance to be Vice President of Nigeria, and also giving me a chance to act at various times as President of Nigeria, he wanted to give me a chance as a representative of the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ to understand certain things about our country and to be able to do certain things to correct some of those things.
The Vice President also visited some houses and markets in Mushin and Surulere local government areas. Despite heavy presence of security operatives, party faithful and supporters in their thousands came out to welcome the Vice President and expressed their support for him and his principal, President Muhammadu Buhari. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, says government is committed to delivering incremental power and expand generation, transmission and distribution of electricity, which is predicted on safety and usage of standard materials. He stated this during the inauguration of a chemical and engineering laboratory by the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency. Dotun Ogemi has the reports.
Transformer oil is a critical component of any transformer that supplies light to houses and businesses in our communities. This is why when a transformer is faulty, it might be as a result of substandard oil used. This laboratory has been equipped with state-of-the-art facilities to check and ensure quality insulating oil, electrical materials, and power equipment like concrete poles and others in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, says the focus is on safety for sustainability.
They now have the tools to do their job, and we hope that there will be improvement in all the operators' compliance conduct.
The Nigerian Electricity Management Service Agency says it is collaborating with the Standards Organization of Nigeria to ensure compliance to standards.
All we are driving out is that we are to ensure safety of use of electricity, safety of life and property.
Stakeholders are confident that the development will aid conformity with international best practice in the power sector. In Lagos, Dotun Ogmiemi, NTA News.
The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has sentenced two former INEC staff, Christian Nwosu and Tijani Bashir, to 7 years imprisonment for accepting gratification and money laundering. Vera Chinyoba has details.
The EFCC had arraigned Christian Nwosu, INEC administrative staff in Kwara State, and Tijani Bashir, an INEC official, on an amended 39-count charge. Both were arraigned for accepting bribe from the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Desiani Alison Madueke. EFCC counsel told the court that the defendants conspired to directly take possession of 264 million naira, which they reasonably ought to have known form parts of proceeds of unlawful act gratification. Nwosu, who had initially pleaded guilty to receiving 30 million naira bribe from Desiana to rig 2015 general election result, at his arraignment in April 2017, changed his plea to not guilty when he was rearraigned. Tijani Bashir was accused of indirectly taking possession of and retaining 164 million naira and also concealed 30 million naira. Justice Mohammed Idris held that the prosecution proved the case beyond reasonable doubt. The judge, however, could not pass sentence on Nwosu because he was absent due to ill health. Justice Idris also ordered forfeiture of his property in Asaba, worth 25 million naira, as well as 5 million naira cash, while Bashir is also to lose his property in Asaba. In Lagos, Viera Chumuba, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. More reports ahead after this timeout. Please stay with us.
Helen!
Hey, where's your mom?
Today is her toilet day.
What? Helen! Toilet day? Tomorrow you're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with all this, it still won't be party ready. Impossible! Challenge? New Ticker Harpic 10X. Even if you use this solution 10 times, it won't give you the same cleaning like Harpic because its new Ticker formulation sticks to the bowl better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet.
Wow!
New Harpic 10X gives me the freedom from toilet day.
I thought leaving the country was the best decision for me and my future.
I left for a better life.
We were picked up by immigration officials and sent to a detention camp.
I spent 8 months in the detention camp.
There was no food, no water.
I saw people being beaten like animals.
Some women were raped. Some women were sold as slaves.
I thought I would never see my loved ones again.
I have made the biggest mistake of my life.
I have wasted all my savings.
I have to start all over again.
Migration is a human phenomenon which cannot be stopped. But if we choose to migrate, we advocate that it should be done in a safe, orderly, regular, and dignified way, and not in a dangerous and tortuous manner.
This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons.
Who am I? I'm a caregiver, a slayer,
Give them.
a boss lady, a foodie. I am the chief quality inspector and chief organizer. And when I'm cooking with my Maggie Star, I become a kitchen grand master.
Every day, you choose to make the difference. That's why you choose Maggie Star, made from natural soya beans and the other carefully selected ingredients to help you cook the difference.
I am the chief enjoyment officer, and I'm the magnet that brings my family together. Need I say more? But best of all, I love what I do.
With Maggie, cook the difference.
Hello, children. NTA Abeokuta Zodiac Children's Birthday Party is here again. Come, let's celebrate. Our special guest of honor is our amiable governor, Senator Ibekunle Amosun, a father and a lover of children.
Happy, happy birthday. That is all I can say. I wish you many, many happy returns. Throw your hands.
Party date, Saturday, 26th January 2019. Time, 12 noon. Venue, NTA Abeokuta Upper Premises. Gate fee, 1,000 naira only. Lots and lots of fun awaits you. There'll be plenty to eat and bountiful gifts to take home. The NTA Abeokuta Zodiac Children's Birthday Party. It's a show to remember. Be there.
That is all I can.
Thank you for staying with us. The Board of Trustees of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, has clarified media assertions that the sack of its former Executive Secretary, Dr. Abdullahi Bichi-Baffa, has nothing to do with issues of any demand upon him by the Minister of Education, as alleged. Reacting to speculations about the reinstatement of Professor Suleiman Bogoro, the board said there was never a time when it was formally or informally notified of any interference by the minister on the board, as he has in fact been supportive of the fund in discharging its duties. A statement by the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Chukwuemeka Nwajueba, said, "It is convinced that the president acted legally, lawfully and rightfully in ensuring that the violation of government regulations as to partisan engagements of public servants in the political atmosphere and uncontrolled publicization of religious and political ideological leanings are halted." It also explains that a procedural defect of some actions of the Executive Secretary at its meeting of January 15, 2019, had formed part of the irregularities recommended to the President by the Minister of Education. Time now to join Rukaya in Kaduna for more reports. It's over to you, Rukaya.
Elizabeth, and welcome to Kaduna Network Center. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, says the federal government is committed to providing universal health coverage for all citizens in line with the global agreement by the World Health Organization, WHO. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that the minister stated this in Kaduna while launching the state contributory health scheme. His reports.
The journey for the creation of the Kaduna State Contributory Health Care Scheme began with the declaration by the National Health Insurance Scheme for all state government in Nigeria to design a suitable scheme reflecting their peculiar priorities. Pointing out the remarkable strides of the federal government in the area of universal health coverage, Minister of Health Isaac Adewale commended Kaduna State Contributory Health Management Agency in its commitment to providing affordable health care services to the people.
Your innovation of 225 primary care facilities and improvement of comprehensive health services in the state is very commendable.
Kaduna State Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai says the idea behind the scheme was to provide financial risk protection for the people when in need of health care services, in line with global vision of attaining universal health coverage for all.
This is a social protection scheme aimed at improving health outcomes, reducing household poverty, and insulating the poor and vulnerable from impoverishing and catastrophic healthcare costs.
The governor earlier inaugurated the Kaduna State Contributory Health Management Authority with Saudata Sani as the chairperson of the board. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTN News.
And the chairman, Jigawa State Council of Chiefs and Emir of Hadija, Alhaji Adamu Abubakar Maje, has called on wealthy individuals to complement government efforts towards addressing the plight of orphans and vulnerable groups in the society as a way of reducing social ills. Awal Muhammad Kazawi reports that the Emir made the call while joining in marriage a number of less privileged sponsored by Jigawa State government.
It is not uncommon to see ladies of marriageable age roaming streets in the name of hawking. The reason may not be unconnected with the ability of their parents to sponsor their marriage. That is why Jigawa State government comes in. The government sponsors the marriage of less privileged in all the 5 emirates of the state. This, the Emir of Hadija, Alhaji Adamu Abubakar Maje, described as commendable, calling on the society to work in saving the marriage institution. Wife of the state governor Hajia Magajia Badaru Abubakar and special advisor religious affairs Alhaji Mustafa Saleh Kwalam said that ladies are being selected void of any political interest.
We hope that they will settle with their husbands, they should abide by the law, they should do the rightful duties to their husbands.
The government of Muhammad Badar Abubakar decided to give their hands in marriage to good people with complete room furnitures.
The policy continues in other emirates with more than 200 ladies given out in marriage. From Duse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Kaduna. There'll be more reports on NTA Network News after this break. Stay tuned.
I'm an only child, and I grew up as such from an extremely poor background. Early morning, I would fetch water for the family, then go to school, come back from school, then take the cattle for rearing. The cattle was not our own, but it was a wealthier neighbor's own, who will now, in exchange, give us some grains to feed for the family.
I believe in one Nigeria where all our people have equal opportunities. We must be the hope of the common man for the common good of the Commonwealth of Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by our Moments Group.
Here you go.
Madam.
That's it. Those naira are enough.
Hi, dear. Helen! You've got so much even after spending so little.
Savings is such a necessity.
You save everywhere, but here, you lose it all.
How?
With this?
Impossible.
New Tika Apic 10X. Even after applying up to 1 liter of your solution multiple times, you won't get the same cleaning that Apic gives you in a single round.
And the expense?
Far less compared to your 1 liter of solution. New Tika Apic. Toughen cleaning,
toughen savings.
Bamidele Alabi Adegbite, Oba Oshao, concerning the construction of Jeba Eyen Quarry Road, which was abandoned for so many years that the road was not passable before. Almost 5 hours before getting to Jeba from Shao here, when the road was not constructed. But now, within 45 minutes, I can get to Jeba.
My name is Alhaji Abdul Qadir Alabi Adibara, the Oba of Jeba. We people living here, we have to thank federal government for job down to repair the road, which made it easier for us to travel from Jeba to Ilorin and back.
Before we came into National Homegrown School Feeding Program, we are only producing 2 bags of flour. Now we are producing up to 40 to 50 bags of food bread to children per day.
Before, we could sell the sachet juice and some of our materials at about 4 trucks per week, 6 trucks. But with homegrown now, we are going to about 14 trucks per week. Because of the national homegrown feeding, school feeding, we had to add additional 150 staff in order to cope with the time and then the production capacity.
We really praise the present administration under the General Muhammadu Buhari for creating National Homegrown School Feeding Program.
Kudos to the federal government.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. We earlier told you that the Board of Trustees of the Judiciary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, has clarified media assertions that the sack of its former Executive Secretary, Dr. Abdullahi Bichibatha, has nothing to do with issues of any demand upon him by the Minister of Education, as alleged. Reacting to speculations about the reinstatement of Professor Suleiman Bogoro, the board said there was never a time when it was formally or informally notified of any interference by the minister on the board as he has in fact been supportive of the fund in discharging its duties. A statement by the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, said it is convinced that the president acted legally, lawfully and rightfully in ensuring that the violation of government regulations as to partisan engagements of public servants in the political atmosphere and uncontrolled publicization of religious and political ideological leanings are halted. And sports is next with Olumide Eguntola.